So today we're now starting on some of these Isaiah promises, and there's so many, and already we're going to have to skip some of them, but we just want to start with perhaps one of the most famous, one of the best. There are several, but we think this is one of them. So we're going to have a look at Isaiah chapter 7, and the reading is just going to be from verses 10 to verse 14. So, Isaiah chapter 7. Moreover, the Lord spoke again to Ahaz, saying, Ask a sign for yourself from the Lord your God. Ask it either in the depth or in the height above. But Ahaz said, I will not ask, nor will I test the Lord. Then he said, Hear now, O house of David. Is it a small thing for you to weary men, but will you weary my God also? Verse 14, Therefore the Lord himself will give you a sign. Behold, the virgin shall conceive and bear a son, and shall call his name Immanuel, which means God with us. Right. So that Isaiah 7, this chapter 7, verse 14, that is one of the best promises. And as we know, as we're going to look later at Mary's story of when that comes true. And Joseph has to deal with this promise given so long ago. But in that story, why was this promise of Jesus given? What is this story with Ahaz? I just want to look a little bit into that because I think it's important for why this God with us title was so important. Now, in that story in Isaiah chapter 7, this king, Ahaz, is about to face an army and he's really scared. But if you notice, if you read that chapter, the whole chapter, in verse 3, the Lord wants Isaiah to meet this king at this aqueduct. And it's because this King Ahaz is trusting in this aqueduct to save them. He thinks through this source of water, this source of life, they can survive this siege, they can survive this army. But the Lord's kind of saying, that's not true. That isn't going to save you. An aqueduct is not enough. It's not sufficient. It's not a savior. It's nowhere near good enough. But Ahaz, this king, rather than trusting in this aqueduct, I'm going to give you Immanuel, this Jesus, this child. He is going to be a real source of life. He is going to bring security, safety. He will be your savior. And the point of Jesus in this prophecy is saying, we can't trust these little aqueducts or little things that we think can give us life. These little things that we think they're going to save me. They're going to make me better. They're going to make life meaningful, purposeful, fulfilling, whatever it is. All these little sources of water and life. The Lord's saying they're not good enough. Those aren't really going to last. They're not true. They're not eternal. They're not real. But this Jesus, he is real. He is eternal. And of course, in the Gospels, Jesus talks about how he is this spring of eternal water, living water. And then in Revelation, Jesus continues that, saying not only is he this, not just like a little aqueduct giving water from somewhere else, he is this spring of living water, real, meaningful water, life. But in Revelation, Jesus says he's going to give this life without cost. That is this kind of hope of Jesus, especially to this king. He's nervous, he's afraid. How am I going to be saved? And the Lord's answer is, stop trusting in those things. I'm going to give you a real savior. Someone who's good. In him, you will never be afraid. There's no need because he is God with us. He's the source of everything good and everything God. He's going to be with you and help you. So it's just this point, this Christmas point is trust in Jesus. In him is this real life, this real security and safety and hope. and he is going to last forever. So that's this Christmas promise. Trust in Jesus. Nothing else, everything else pales in comparison to him. Trust in this child, this Jesus, this Immanuel. That's this Christmas promise.